The automotive industry operates on a fundamental principle that has governed commerce for over a century. If you have money, you can buy whatever you want. Yet a curious paradox has emerged at the absolute pinnacle of luxury and performance automobiles, where certain vehicles have become so exclusive that conventional purchasing mechanisms no longer apply. These are cars that exist in such rarefied air that potential buyers cannot simply visit a dealership, place an order, and arrange financing. Instead, ownership follows invitation-only processes, requires personal relationships with manufacturers, demands proof of automotive pedigree, or involves waiting lists so lengthy that interested buyers must commit to securing a vehicle years before delivery. This exclusivity creates a fascinating inversion of traditional consumer economics, where the barrier to purchase transcends mere cost and enters the realm of access and privilege. The Ferrari LaFerrari represents perhaps the most iconic example of an automobile that cannot be conventionally ordered despite its astronomical price tag. When Ferrari decided to build this hybrid hypercar, the company established a production limit of 500 units. However, Ferrari did not simply open sales to anyone with sufficient wealth. Instead, the company invited existing customers to purchase the vehicle based on their history with the brand, their previous vehicle purchases, and their standing within the Ferrari collector community. Prospective owners who approached Ferrari dealerships hoping to purchase a LaFerrari were routinely refused, regardless of their financial capacity. The vehicle became available only to those whom Ferrari deemed worthy based on criteria entirely determined by the manufacturer rather than market forces. This approach demonstrated that at the highest levels of automotive exclusivity, manufacturers exercise more control over their customer base than traditional retail models allow. The Bugatti Bolide exemplifies how exclusivity can transcend traditional ordering mechanisms entirely. When Bugatti revealed this track-focused hypercar, the company faced an interesting challenge. The vehicle was designed primarily for circuit driving rather than road use, and Bugatti wanted to ensure that owners would actually use the cars rather than merely display them as investments. The company therefore instituted a comprehensive program requiring prospective owners to attend track training at a world-class racing circuit, prove their driving ability, and demonstrate genuine enthusiasm for motorsport before being allowed to purchase one. Money alone became insufficient. Potential customers had to prove they possessed the skill, commitment, and genuine passion for extreme driving that the manufacturer deemed necessary. The car essentially became inaccessible to wealthy individuals who wanted merely to own a vehicle for its prestige without the personal commitment Bugatti required. The Porsche 911 G2 RS, particularly in certain model years, operated under allocation systems, where Porsche determined which customers would be permitted to purchase the vehicle rather than allowing open market ordering. Existing Porsche customers with strong purchasing histories and demonstrated enthusiasm for performance vehicles received invitations to order, while newcomers or casual interested parties were frequently denied the opportunity regardless of financial capability. This system created situations where individuals worth hundreds of millions of dollars found themselves unable to purchase a performance car because Porsche deemed their commitment to the brand insufficient. The manufacturer effectively established a social hierarchy within its customer base, determining who deserved access to certain products. The McLaren Senna represents another example of orchestrated exclusivity that transcended conventional purchasing. When McLaren decided to build this ultimate track car, the company limited production to 500 units and implemented an allocation system that prioritized existing customers who had purchased previous McLaren vehicles. New customers wishing to purchase a Senna found themselves on indefinitely long waiting lists, and some were essentially rejected outright because McLaren felt their motivations were insufficient or their commitment to the brand inadequate. The vehicle became a reward for automotive loyalty rather than a product available for purchase in traditional market mechanisms. The Mercedes-AMG 1 presents perhaps the most extreme example of inaccessibility combined with astronomical pricing. This hybrid hypercar, limited to 55 production units, cost nearly $1.4 million, yet remained available only to individuals who met Mercedes' undisclosed criteria. The company reportedly rejected multiple inquiries from ultra-wealthy individuals, and some prospective owners found themselves unable to secure a vehicle regardless of their financial standing or willingness to pay the asking price. Mercedes maintained complete discretion over customer selection, implementing a vetting process that remained largely opaque to the public. Approved customers received invitations; those rejected received no explanation for their exclusion. The Lamborghini Veneno took exclusivity to such extremes that only 9 production vehicles were ever constructed for public sale, with additional examples retained by the manufacturer itself. Given the minuscule production volume, ordering a Veneno became virtually impossible through conventional channels. Instead, the vehicle became available only through private connections with Lamborghini leadership, existing relationships with ultra-high net worth collectors, or fortunate placement within the company's mysterious allocation process. The car essentially became unavailable through traditional purchasing methods, accessible only to those with connections to the manufacturer, or standing within elite automotive collector circles. The Pagani Zonda represents a historical example of extreme exclusivity that persisted for years. Throughout the Zonda's production run, Pagani maintained complete control over which customers could purchase the vehicle. The company built cars exclusively for clients it had personally selected, rejecting numerous inquiries from wealthy individuals who approached dealerships or attempted to commission vehicles. Some potential customers waited years only to be informed that their request had been denied. Pagani's approach established the principle that a supercar manufacturer could simply refuse customers based on unstated criteria, and no market mechanism could compel the company to sell to anyone it chose to exclude. The Koenigsegg One operated under similar principles of manufacturer-controlled exclusivity. With extremely limited production numbers, Koenigsegg reserved the right to reject any potential customer. The company reportedly turned down orders from individuals who possessed more than sufficient wealth, simply because Koenigsegg felt their motivations or intentions did not align with the company's values or vision for the vehicle. Access to the car became contingent upon Koenigsegg's subjective assessment of each applicant, rather than conventional economic transactions. The Ferrari F40, during its original production run, represented perhaps the historical genesis of this approach to automotive exclusivity. As the final car personally approved by Enzo Ferrari before his death, production was limited to 400 units. However, Ferrari maintained such tight control over the customer base that many enthusiasts and wealthy individuals found themselves unable to purchase one despite genuine desire and financial capability.